Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. 1 minute late, but still in time, I would say. Today's theme is how to optimize your hourly rate, and I'm glad to see that we also already have more than 20 participants. I think it's probably for most of our freelancers really interesting. Today, we are having this webinar with our partner Kontist, and I'm really glad to have Melchior here, who will introduce himself in a minute. For those of us who aren't already a part of our community, I will give a really short introduction of Uplink and myself, and after that, it's the stage is Melchior's. So Uplink is a network with more than 1,300 IT freelancers, and was founded in 2006 by Manuel, who worked himself as a freelancer for a couple of years in big companies, startups, and agencies. And we want to be like a fair and transparent alternative to classic IT recruiters. So basically, we're making our money with nice projects for freelancers. In my role as a project and event manager, I'm, besides other tasks, responsible for corporations. And yeah, and I'm really glad that we found a really nice partner in Kontist, and they're having this webinar together. So welcome, Melchior. I will put you on stage as well.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
nice.
Hello.
And one thing I missed to say, it's when you already, while the webinar, have some questions in mind, you can ask them in the toolbar with Ask a Question. And in the second part, we will answer all your questions. So if you have anything in mind, just put it there. So now, welcome, Melchior.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you. Nice. That's for being here, and I think, yeah, really welcome to this. I think now over 30 people. I'm really excited, and of course, I prepared a small presentation, and I know most of the question. Of course, I will share. I will share the presentation with you, and I think that then you can upload it or send it to the participants. So you can just listen now, and yeah, if there are some questions at the end, we have the time to answer all these questions. And yeah, I think the big topic today is the hourly rate. I know as a tech and IT freelancer, we don't have the lowest hourly rate, but I think there is a difference between the hourly rate on the invoice or in the calculation and the real is existing hourly rate when I'm including all my costs and ineffective work and all the work I cannot bill. And I think, yeah, this is the main topic I want to talk today about. It's about identifying and enforce the real value of your work. And we have a small agenda. I want to start with my own story. And I think, as far as I know, the most common mistake why are a business starter and new freelancers just asking for to less money. And yeah, the big question always is what's my time really worth? And I want to share with you 3 different types of calculation. This is about based on the service, based on your client's needs and ideas, and a solution for scaling up. And maybe I would say the difference between freelance business and more an entrepreneurial setup is something like a productized service, calculate as a product, and then offer something like a service product or a freelance product. But it's it's just sometimes it's just a different mindset. But there it's sometimes it's way easier to ask for a higher hourly rate when you put something together in a package in a product instead of just asking for an hourly rate. And of course, then we need something. Then it's most important, if when you have calculated, of course, your hourly rate and your risk rate, it's always about how to get this price. And I know, of course, this is not always as easy as it sounds, but yeah, I think a few small tips at the end, it would be really interesting. And I want to share what I've learned in the last 13 years of being self-employed and freelancer in Germany. And yeah, just a few sentences to my side. My name is Melchior Neumann. I'm born in Berlin. I'm living in Berlin. I'm tax clerk. I worked as a tax accountant for some years, and I studied economics with focus on tax law and auditing. Worked for KPMG and European Tax and Law (ETL) for some years. And then I got self-employed 13 years for now, and especially in this in this time I worked mainly for clients in the accounting, tax, and finance sector. For example, for Kontist. That's the main reason why I'm here today and why I'm talking to you, because we have this cooperation with Kontist, and I'm working for Kontist now for around 4 years, but I worked for different accounting tools as well, LexOffice, Fastbill, Debitor, and Klarna, for example. And there I learned a lot about the whole market sector, financial education, and financial learned a lot about the financial situation of self-employed and freelancers in general in Germany. And I think especially with this knowledge from the tax accounting part about being self-employed on my own side, and of course the technical perspective, I think this gives me a really interesting insights for sharing some ideas and know-how with you. Just a few words to Kontist, because of course it's partner from Uplink, and just to introduce it, Kontist is a banking account for freelancers and self-employed, and Kontist is always showing you your real money. So how much money on your bank account is really your money, and what's the money from the tax office, what's the money from the Finanzamt. So what amount of money is on your bank account is for VAT, and what is for income tax, and what is it really used. And this is calculated in real time from Kontist on your bank account. And this is mainly what Kontist is doing. And I think this is a really interesting topic, because today we want to calculate your income. And of course, you should include the taxes, the income tax and the VAT tax as well, before sending proposals to your potential clients and customers. Yeah, and with this word, I want to start into the webinar and want to share with you the most common mistake. I did this when I started 13 years ago, because I thought, okay, I need some money for my personal private costs. And I thought, okay, to cover my personal costs, I need, of course, and my life was really cheap 30 years ago. I needed around €1,000, and this was my starting point for calculation my price. So I thought, okay, I have to work. Of course, I want to earn a little bit more, but my main and first milestone was just to earn as much money as I need for living, and this was my starting point. And really, don't do that as well. I think if you are in business already a few years, you know this, because of course your costs will increase. For example, now on my stage, when I started, I needed around €1,000, and I took this really as a baseline for my calculation. And I calculated, I don't know, I want to work 80 hours per or not 80 hours per week, but around 40 hours per week. But I don't want to work full time, because I have some I need organization time for my own stuff. So when I'm working now 30 hours per week, then I have 120 hours per month. And then I started with this calculation. And yeah, in theory, 8 euro per hour would be enough. No one would ask for 8 euro per hour, but I thought, okay, I can increase this a little bit, and started. I think my first hourly rate was around 25 euro. I had no idea about freelancing. I had no idea about my own value I can give to my customers, and I just thought, all really nice. There I was a student. I earned around 10 euro as an employed, and I thought, okay, 25 euro per hour would be really nice. And then I have to work 40 hours per month, and then I have the 1,000 euro. This was really nice for the first 6 months, I think. But a few years later, of course, your private costs are increased, and maybe you're married, maybe you have children, maybe you have a car, maybe you want to build a house. I don't know, but of course you need more money for your living, and it's really, really hard to ask your customers. And the customers paid you 25 euro at the beginning, and then just ask them for paying 75 euro afterwards. Because when you are in this when the customer is seeing you as a 25 or 30 or 40 or 50 euro freelancer per hour, then it's nearly impossible that they will pay you 3 times that much, because maybe they have freelancers and they're paying to these freelancers and really expert freelancers 150 euro, 200 euro per hour. But to increase from a really low price to a high price is nearly impossible. So you need new customers. You need sometimes a really new track record when you're working, for example, for different projects on different freelance platforms, and your potential new customer can see that you worked in previous time for, I don't know, $50 per hour. Then it's really hard to ask a new customer for 150 euro per hour. And this is the main thing. Never start too low. When you are really new and you're not that when it's really hard for you to find customers, just stay with a more high hourly rate, and maybe make a suggestion for not bill all your hours or something like this. But really start with a low hourly rate is really one of the worst thing you can do, because it's impossible to increase the price afterwards. And this is what I did wrong at the beginning, and I'm hearing a lot. And maybe some of you say, okay, stupid guy, this is so clear, and I would never ask for $40 or 40 euro or 50 euro per hour. But I know a lot of people, when they are starting and not that familiar with all this freelance business stuff, they start maybe just for really just think about what do I need, or maybe came from another country and 50 euro should be enough. But then really, trust me, it's really, really hard to increase that afterwards. So never do this again. And please, if you're doing something like this, think about how you can increase that step by step. Or maybe really sometimes it's easier to just find new customers. And I will share with you a Google spreadsheet, and then we will go through this together in this webinar. And I want to share just a small calculation how you can and should calculate your hourly rate. And this should help you for finding the right price, and of course, as well, to include all costs, and as well the non-visible costs, because there are a lot of non-visible costs you should include in your hourly rate as well. Not just the taxes. This is, for example, can be shown by Kontist, but there are a lot of not visible costs as well. Yeah, and the main question you should ask yourself is, of course, always, what's your price? And I know the thoughts. The main reason why I was so, yeah, I would say scared in the beginning is I thought my price is too high. I was really just a starter. I was a student. I don't had that long track record. I don't had a lot of experiences, working experiences, and I thought really just my price is too high. But on the other hand, I knew, okay, I have to start somehow, but I never expected that this is so hard to increase afterwards. So, and it doesn't matter why you're asking and should do your calculation. Even if you're fine with your hourly rate and you're charging a lot of money per hour, it's totally fine. But maybe you want to have a more profit. Maybe you want to work less, and that's the reason why you have to earn more per hour. Or maybe you want to build up a team, or there's so many reasons why you should think about your price. And I can tell you, when there is not that money left over per month, you're not earning enough. And maybe your hourly rate is fine, but yeah, you're not thinking about the invisible costs, or you're working a lot of time and spend a lot of hours for work you cannot write on your invoices. And this is, of course, hurting your real hourly rate. And the difference between the real hourly rate and the hourly rate on your invoice is, of course, this stuff. The real hourly rate includes all the organizational work. How much time do you need for acquiring a new customer? How much you need for writing all the invoices? How much time do you need for educate and train yourself? How much time do you need for networking? How much time? All this time is, you cannot charge somebody for this, and you should include this time in your calculation for your hourly rate. And if maybe a customer is paying a really good and high hourly rate, but it's so stressful to work for him because he's always demands a lot of questions, you have always problem with paying your invoice. You needed a lot of time for acquiring this customer. Then maybe an hourly rate of 100 euro per hour is the real hourly rate is maybe under 50 euro, because you spend more than 50% of the time with the customer is just about acquisition and writing the invoices and communication without being able to charge it. Or what I did, my next mistake from my side was always that customer asked me for a fixed price per month. And I thought, okay, it's easy job. When I'm working for a customer 20 hours per month, then I can give him, for example, 2,000 euro per month, and then I earn 100 euro per hour. But at the end, I never tracked my time. I just worked, and at the end, or sometimes I tracked my time, but I never checked afterwards how many time I've spent on this customer. And then I had one customer and one project, and this was really a huge fuck up, because at the end I calculated 80 hours per hour, and at the end I worked 4 times that much as expected, but I had a fixed price per month. So at the end I thought I earned 80 euro per hour, but at the end the real hourly rate was around 20 euro, because there was so much work, additional work. I wasn't able to charge. It wasn't written in the contract. And I never checked this afterwards, because I know a lot of people who are just into the work, and they love the work, and they really, when they sit down and work on a project, creating stuff, and then they are that deep into it, and they love the project that much, they want to deliver a really good result and work way more, and they worked way more hours than expected, and being able to charge for these hours, that the real hourly rate is really low. And I know this case especially from freelancers who have a high hourly rate. So really, I think I would suggest we can go in this Google spreadsheet, and then we can just play around with this tool. And I would suggest you to just try this tool out as well, and maybe even if you for your existing customers, just play around with this. Try to calculate backwards your real hourly rate. And how this works is we just can calculate a typical case. For example, I take my own business. I did marketing services for example, for an accounting tool, maybe for Kontist. And my starting point is always how many days per year I have in total, not just for working, in total. So in per year I have, like you should have as well, 365 days. Then, of course, we have the weekends. And Saturdays and Sundays, it's 52 weeks. So we have weekend, 104 days. Then you should have holiday. Of course, maybe here you can say, okay, I don't need holidays. Sometimes you need a little bit holiday. Sometimes you want to have a lot of holidays. For example, I know a few people who wants to just increase the holidays. Here it's split it up. So holidays, official holidays. This depends where you're living. In Bavarian, you should have more holidays than in Berlin, for example, but vacation days as well. So your time-free days now 25 days, but maybe you want to increase this to 40 days per year, because maybe you just want to have more time with your family, with your friends and stuff like this. And then a really common mistake is, for example, okay, maybe my goal is now 30 days per year on vacation. And one mistake a lot of people doing is being sick. We cannot plan how long we want to be sick this year or next year, or I don't know. It's nearly impossible. So in average in Germany, for employees there are statistics. For self-employed there are no statistics. So I had to take the statistic from employed people, and they are in average sick 15 days per year. This is a lot, I think. But we have to calculate with this as well. Even if I'm healthy, maybe it's 10 days, but I should include this in my calculation. So I have net work days of 206 days per year. Then I should think about how many hours I want to work in these days. I'm normally working 8 hours per day, sometimes 10, sometimes just 6. But in average, I would say I'm working 8 hours per day. Of course, this you can change as well if you're just more the guy who just focus on if you work, then you're working the really whole day from early in the morning till the latest evening. But I have a friend as well, and she said she doesn't want to work more than 5 hours per day, because afterwards she's not focused anymore. It's fine as well. You can put your number here. I would go with 8 hours per day. And then I have this, as I mentioned, the non-billable hours. This could be really high or really low. It depends on your business model. For example, when I'm doing consultings, I have sometimes consulting days, and I'm doing more consulting most of the time. So I'm selling really days. When I'm in a company and I consult them about, I don't know, marketing strategy, stuff like this. And then I have a lot of time for acquisition. Then I have a lot of time for the work before, so preparation, and afterwards as well. Then I'm around 60 to 70% of time I cannot bill. If you work, for example, for a project, and then you are hired for 6 months, and in this 6 months you just work 100% of your time just on one project, then you can put in maybe 95%, because most of your time, except your accounting and writing the invoices, you can put it on your invoice. But in my case, it's around 50% most of the time. And this is the main. I think this is a huge difference when you have here 50% or 80%, and you can just play around with this, because I put some costs in here, and but here next step is always for how many people should work for you for this hourly rate. If you are just self-employed and a freelancer, of course it's just one. But when you want to hire more people, you can play around here as well. And then you can think about how high should be my hourly rate for being able to hire somebody, for example, or for maybe as well for okay, I want to work together with another freelancer, and you have to calculate your hourly rate you want for the proposal you want to send to your potential customer. And of course, then you have to include, for example, the freelancer you want to work with. But here, of course, I want to work on my own. Then there are a lot of costs. This is more annual costs. Most important thing, I want to have here my salary. My own salary should be calculated as a cost, because for my own company, my salary are costs. And this here is the business costs. So this is not my private cost. As I mentioned, you should never take your private costs as a baseline for your calculation, but your business costs, of course, you have to cover with your hourly rate. But when I want to earn 50,000 per year, I can put it in here. Then you have the whole insurance stuff, social security stuff. Then maybe you have rent or a co-working space. Maybe you canceled it now in the Corona stuff. So, but I'm taking now. I have, I don't know, 500 euro in a co-working space. 500 euro per year, 6,000. Then some marketing costs is not that high. It's around 1,000. Then I have other costs, something like IT, my laptop I have to buy every year. I don't know why every year, but could be. Then I have other costs for my business. So I have annual costs, and of course I have to cover this annual costs with my income. So with my business income, with my revenue, and I have to calculate it here. So now you have to charge already around 95 euro per hour just for being break even. But being break even means as well, then you have your own salary included as well. But when you want to earn with this amount of 3 days and with this salary, you should bill 95 euro per hour. But of course, it's not enough. We all know there are a lot of problems right now in Corona situation. A lot of projects were stopped, and we have a lot of difficulties. And who's taking over the risk? It's always the self-employed. It's always the freelancer. And so you should include your something like profit. Of course, you have to include profit. And yeah, so here you should put additional some profit. 30%, 40%. It depends on your feeling of what do you need for feeling safety, and of course what's realistic in the market. Because of course this is now a really nice calculation, but sometimes it's not possible to charge 220 euro per hour. But when you just, I think 30% is not really much for profit. And this is about that you have something, some money on your side, for example, for situations like the Corona crisis, Or maybe as well, here we're calculating that you're really able to sell this amount of hours, but we all know there are some months where there's a lot to do, and in other months there's not that much to do. And here you should always, this should be included in this in this profit. And of course, then you have your hourly rate you should ask and for your customer. And additional on top, this is not interesting for B2B business. This is just for interesting for B2C business or for specific market segments where the customer isn't able to deduct the VAT. It's, for example, insurance companies, some banks are not it's not possible, or of course the end customer. But this is wrong. 90% is not up to date. At the moment, it's 16%. So you should ask for gross price per hour for 140 euro, and then you would make a profit of around 23,000 euro per year. And here it's really interesting. Now you can start playing around. For example, you want to, maybe your goal for next year is to double your own vacation days. And then you just put in 60, and then you can go down, and then you know, okay, you have to increase your price to this price or this price. That this is possible, and you have to charge an average this hourly rate to your customers for being able to go 60 days per year on vacation. And of course, it's your decision. You are the self-employed, and I think this is helping a lot. Or you want to increase your own salary, then it could be really interesting, and you just can play around. Or you cancel now in Corona. The rent is not necessary anymore. Then you can see this hourly rate decrease, and maybe then you can make more profit. And maybe you can cancel your rent and increase your calculated profit by 10%, and then you can charge the same hourly rate. And for me, this is so helpful, and I would suggest to all of you, please just play around with this. Try to try to put in your average time and try to figure out the real billable hours and the hours who are not. I'm naming them always ineffective hour. Of course, it's not ineffective, but how this percentage makes a huge difference. For example, if a customer is asking you now, okay, I have a project 6 months and I will pay all your 40 hours per week and everything is fine. I will cover all the sick days and vacation days and everything. Then you can increase this number, for example, a lot, because you nearly have no self-organization. Maybe you can decrease your normal costs. And if this percentage grow a lot, you can should be 5%. Then you can decrease your hourly rate, of course, a lot for earning the same money and getting at the end the same salary for yourself. I would suggest I will share this document with you, but hopefully this will help you for just playing around. And here I would really ask you for just try to reflect yourself and try to calculate your. And the meaning is the real hourly rate you should ask. And what's for me really helpful, I created this, to be honest, in my 5th year of being self-employed. So the first 5 years was really just I learned. I would say I learned a lot, but I did so many things wrong in this time period. And for me, it's really interesting is this costs per hour. This is for me an interesting insight as well. When I'm saying, okay, I really want to have this new office and it costs 1,000 euro per month, then I can calculate, okay, then I have to increase my hourly rate by €7.66 when I really want to be able to work in this new office. Yes, and now this is the main thing. The calculation, I think this I talked already about. Exactly what I want to go talk about. Of course, this is really nice to calculate an hourly rate like this, but to be honest, and everybody of you knows, this is not always reality. This is just possible when you are able to when you are able to charge, when you are able to find that many customers who are willing to pay you this rate. Otherwise, I would just put in my 200,000 euro per year salary. Then I would say, okay, I just want to work 1 month per year and all this stuff. But no one would pay me 10,000 euro per hour. That's the reason why, of course, this calculation is helpful for getting an overview and for understanding my own business. But of course, it's not always really realistic. And of course, this is you have to think about another side. Of course, you have to think about your clients and what are the clients are willing to pay for you. So you should do additional calculation based on your clients. So you should make something like a market research. I think for freelancers, it's really easy because freelance work is really comparable. There are a lot of similar. I wouldn't name them similar freelancers, but there is a normal price, and especially big companies, they have a price range what they are able and what's possible to pay for freelancers. So the price should according to the market. Of course, you can observe your competition and just ask other freelancers and your friends who are doing freelancing about what they are charging with similar services. If you don't have any idea, just ask. Just ask your potential customer for making a suggestion. Is not always the best idea, but when you're really a business starter, just asking the customer for making a suggestion is always better to start with your private costs. So maybe this can help you, or creating really something like a survey, an ongoing survey, and are they happy with the price? And afterwards you're learning about what's realistic in your market segment. So yeah, the step for you would be research, market analysis. This you can do in different social media groups, meetups, and I think Uplink can help with this as well. Communicate with your clients, ask them, and get direct feedback from your clients. If you ask, there are a lot of people who are asking friends who are not familiar with your market segment, we're not familiar with your services and your skills and nothing, but it's kind of asking your mom. Of course, your mom would love to give you the highest hourly rate, but this is not realistic. So you need the feedback from your customer who wants to book you. Yeah, and I think this is about analyzing and getting a feeling for the realistic price to sell in the market. And then you have two prices. Then you have the price you want to have with your own calculation, and then you have something like a market price. And ideally, it's nearly the same. If not, you should think about how can you. Of course, if the customer would pay you more than you wants to charge, of course, then just charge more. But in most cases, you're thinking about more money and higher hourly rate than your customer. And then you think about how can you increase your hourly rate. And this is about price discussions and being able to argue in the right way. But another thing is as well to put services to something like a package and creating something scalable and really look for a really good focus. And for example, here as a summary calculation based on your clients is of course, it's easy for you, easy access to your community. It's, to be honest, sometimes it's the fastest way, because in different platforms and the discussions and groups of freelancers, it's really easy just to ask. And sometimes asking your client is already really helpful, because when you bring the customer, that the customer is thinking about the worth of your work, it's already helpful in the selling process sometimes. Problem is, price is not always related to your costs. So maybe your business costs, and maybe your costs sometimes they are not covered by your revenue. And it's nearly impossible when you're really, really new in the market and when you're not able to talk to existing customers and clients. So this is not always the best, but as I mentioned, to increase the hourly rate, it's really about finding something like a productized. I'm really a huge fan of productized services. It's not always working really, really good, but in some cases it could work really good. And this is the difference between being a freelancer and acting more like an entrepreneur. You can be a freelancer, but acting like an entrepreneur could help you a lot with this. So calculation based on your product, on your benefits of your product. So you have to find a fixed fixed price for a product package. And I think I can here explain a lot, but I met a friend of mine just last week, and she did this really, really nice. And I would just show you her website, because it's really it's explaining that good what I'm meaning with productized service. Her name is Lisa Koch. She's designer, and she's creating design for founder and self-employed. She's doing website creation, but really, really easy, really easy website creation. It's not cheap, but more like template. But a customer of mine created a logo with her, and she thought about a process how to create a logo just in one day. And took the different steps. She worked for agencies and stuff like this and earned a lot of money, and then worked as a freelancer. But then she's thought about, how can I put the product, the process of creating a logo in a product? And the result is 1 day for creating a logo. Here is written in just 8 hours to your design, to your logo. And then she named it the takeoff days. And then you can create the logo and the CI for 1,800 euro. And this is included. This is what she was doing the whole time for her customers, because before she just created logos. But then a customer came, asked, it was a long process, acquisition process. She looked out for customers, but now she just put all the steps in one system, build up a system, and now she's selling this takeoff days, logo creation days, like a product. And I know that she's selling. It's really, I think in Corona, it wasn't that easy as well, because normally she's meeting in the office, but she's selling between 5 and 10 of these days per month. And when you calculate it for a designer, earning something between 9 and 18,000 euro per month, with always the same process, this is a really, really high hourly rate. And normally, no company would pay such a high price, hourly rate price. When you just calculate it down to, this is 8 hours for this, no one would pay that much for a designer. But why is she able to do this in just 1 day? Because everything is prepared. She has just developed a process. And I really love the idea behind. And I know it's not always easy to find something like this for the own freelance business. but to be honest, I haven't seen this before as well, like something like a logo development process in 8 hours. I think at the beginning of her development, it wasn't easy as well, but she found a way to abstract the process and to develop the process. And now, yeah, it's just 1,800 in 8 hours. So it should be. I'm not really good in calculation like this. It should be 225 around more than 200 euro per hour. And to be honest, if I would hire a designer for my business or for clients and they would ask for more than 200 euro per hour, I would never pay more than 200 euro for a designer for creating a logo. But she was able to do this because she built up a product out of a service. It's not always possible, but figuring out and developing a process, a product, this can help you to increase your price really like crazy. And this should be maybe, there is another calculation tool. So I would share with you as well. This is, of course, you have to calculate products in a different way. For example, maybe I'm doing consulting days, but normally I'm acquiring customers, and then customer tells me what he needs, and then I'm creating the consulting day. But I could have a really strict, really strict. I can follow always the same steps in this day. Then it's more work for me for acquire customers with the same needs, but it would be possible to of course to earn way more per hour. So I included this as well, this calculation for productized service, and I think this could be really interesting for you to just think about how can you maybe build up a product out of your service, maybe combining it with products of other or services from other freelancers, and how can you sell your service like a product, because then you're really scalable. And I think this is a difference between, as I mentioned, for building up a company, and then it's easy to, for example, hire people as well. Yeah, and of course it's scalable, and normally the profit margin is higher, and you can adjust it way easier. Main problem is, of course, you have a lot of preparation work. Of course, you have to be in the market for a while, so you have to understand really the needs for developing something like a process. And if you're selling too less of these products, then it won't cover your costs as well. Yeah, and of course, if your costs are higher, and in the same market someone else is doing something like this as well, your price is always higher. So you have the same problems like everybody who's selling products, but not that many service providers and freelancers thinking in products. Yeah. And I think this is really, as far as I know, this is one of the best ways to increase the hourly rate. But of course, there are other tips as well. For example, for enforced higher prices is always difficult, and I know this. I don't like having communicate new prices or increasing of the price, but my tips are here: communicate this openly with your clients. If you really want to stick just with your hourly rates, or if it's just possible to stick with your hourly rates, totally fine. But you should communicate from time to time openly, maybe in a feedback. As a part of a feedback meeting. Just communicate that you have to increase the price from time to time. Ideally, you don't do this just every 5 years, so you have to do this more often, and then increase step by step, maybe every year 5% or something like this, and never calculate too tightly, especially when you want to have a higher hourly rate. Just start higher and of course ask for more in the beginning. If you want to get 100 euro per hour, just ask at the beginning for 120 euro, and just be happy when when the customer is willing to pay 100 at the end. Then it's totally fine, but always just ask for a little bit more. And sometimes, of course, a huge potential is always within the costs. So just track your costs, because sometimes reducing fixed costs will help you a lot more and will bring you way more margin than increasing 10% in your hourly rate, for example. Yeah, I think this was the main part in general for the content part. I'm just taking a look to the time. I think it's totally fine. I'm really happy that I did it within an hour. Hopefully there were some new information for you. I've added a few slides for Kontist, but as I mentioned, Kontist just shows you your real net on your bank account when you are calculated your prices on the right way. Of course, you should have always, ideally in real time, an overview about the money, what's really yours, and the money you have to give to the Finanzamt. And we have a special deal for you. If you open now a bank account, and there are free bank accounts, so you don't have to pay anything, then you get 50 euro on your bank account. We'll transfer this money within 2 weeks. The link you can find in the, I think, page for the corporations.
Exactly.
At Uplink.
Exactly. So now, if you have any further questions, you have the possibility now to ask them. And I see we already have like 3 questions, but you answered already one. So the first question is, will the spreadsheet be shared? You already told us you will share it, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So maybe you can just send the link in the chat later, so all of us can see it. Another question is regarding the calculation, if taxes are already included in the calculation, but I think it's like just the natural prices, right?
Exactly. I added the VAT at the end. Or the income tax you just have to pay on your income. I haven't included this for 2 reasons. The one reason is you just have to pay the income tax on your profit, and I mainly took all the costs, and for the costs, of course, that you don't don't have to pay income taxes before you make profit. And for the profits, of course, you have to pay. But I compared the salary I included, and you have to pay, of course, the tax for your salary as well. But I took always, as an employee, you have to pay the taxes as well. So I just compared the being employed and being self-employed, and there is no difference there is no difference, and you have to pay taxes anyway. So this is not a difference in this case.
Nice. So the next question is, there is like no risk percentage in the spreadsheet, like percentage of employment per year, because switching projects could cost a whole month of billable hours.
Yeah.
And then Ferenc already said, like, maybe it's included in the non-utilization percentage already.
It should be, of course, it should be. I know from my side in my own business, because I'm doing my own stuff now for years. I know if it's going good, I can charge around 80 to 90% of my hours. But I know an average on an average of a few months, it's around 50%. Because there are other months as well where I'm not able to charge more than 30 or 40%, and then these are the time where I have to work on my website and stuff like this. And yeah, at the end, in average, it's 50%. It should be included in this ineffective time.
I see. So, are there any more questions? Now it's the opportunity. So one other, there was one question if the webinar is it's possible to rewatch again. Yeah, after it's broadcasted, you can rewatch it at any time by following the link. Nice. So is there? Okay, I see. So there are no more questions. Then thank you very much for your time. You will all find the details to the cooperation and the link you can follow to get the €50 tomorrow morning on our cooperation site. And if you're not an Uplink member, now you can just register if you're working as a freelancer. So thank you very much for your time and have a nice evening.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.